PaM Brand Talk, your go-to podcast for smart branding and real marketing.
Hello again. Welcome to PaM Brand Talk podcast. My name is Pam, and I will not be your host for today. I'm just doing an introduction for our topic today, when the 50s are the new 30s, marketing to the ageless generation. So let's hear from our podcasters. Here we go.
Okay, let's dive in. We're looking today at something pretty fundamental, wouldn't you say?
Definitely. It's this big shift in what it actually means to be, 50, 60, even 70 years old right now.
It feels dramatically different.
Oh, completely. That old idea of just sort of slowing down, quiet retirement, it just doesn't match reality for so many people anymore.
Yeah, that narrative feels broken. And based on the really interesting material you shared, our goal here is to unpack why this is happening.
Right, and also why it's such a huge opportunity, especially if you're looking at it from, say, a marketing angle.
Exactly. What really leaps out is how those old stereotypes are just crumbling.
They really are. This group isn't fading away. They're vibrant, they're engaged.
And they're ready to consume, ready to spend.
And this is crucial. They're doing it very much on their own terms.
Okay, so let's properly get into this deep dive. We're calling it the new age of agelessness. First step has to be challenging that old picture, right?
Yeah. What did growing old gracefully even mean?
It usually meant scaling back, didn't it? A quieter life.
Retreating, almost. Your 50s, 60s, early 70s.
Yeah.
That was just retirement age. Like a switch flipped off.
Signaling less activity, lower expectations.
But that just feels so disconnected now. The material we looked at really drives home that these decades are not slowdown zones.
Not at all.
No. The picture we're getting from these sources isn't about just existing quietly. It's about thriving.
That old image of someone just parked in front of the TV.
Couldn't be further off based on this.
So what are they doing? How has this 50-plus consumer actually evolved, according to the material?
Well, it's quite a range. You've got people running marathons, seriously into yoga, hitting the gym.
Okay, so fitness is big.
Huge.
Yeah.
But also, world travel, keeping up with fashion trends, cultural stuff.
So it's not just physical activity.
No, it's a hunger for engagement, for challenge, new experiences. The material constantly points away from winding down.
They're seeking fulfillment, not just ease. And it seems willing to spend on it.
Precisely. Which brings us neatly to why the material flags them as such a, perfect niche for marketers right now.
Let's break that down. There were a few key reasons that kept popping up.
Yeah.
First, tech. There's this lingering assumption, isn't there, about older people and technology?
Oh, yeah, and the sources just blow that out of the water. It's clear. A huge chunk of people in their 50s, 60s, 70s are very comfortable online.
Like, how comfortable?
Social media active, streaming shows and music, definitely shopping online.
Using their phones for everything, like everyone else.
Absolutely. Smartphones are central. They are definitely reachable digitally. That whole tech-shy idea is outdated.
Okay, so accessible online. What's another piece?
Resources. Plain and simple. Time and money.
Right. Decades of work. Maybe kids are grown up.
Exactly. Careers established. Perhaps mortgages paid down. It often leaves them with significant disposable income.
And they're not just hoarding it. The material suggests they're ready to invest that money back into themselves, right?
Totally. Into fitness, maybe updating their style, travel, those experiences that make life feel rich and vibrant.
They've got the capacity and the motivation.
Yep. And another thing the material stressed was their discernment. They really look for quality, for authenticity.
They've been around the block, I suppose. Less likely to fall for gimmicks.
That's the sense you get. The sources highlight that they actively look for brands that align with their values.
What kind of values?
Things like, real quality, ethical production, sustainability kept coming up as important.
Interesting. And maybe the biggest point for anyone trying to connect how they see themselves.
Yes. This is a really strong theme. They fundamentally reject being defined just by their age.
Don't call them old or elderly.
Definitely not, or out of touch. They see themselves as active, capable, influential people.
And they expect brands and, society to see them that way too.
Absolutely. They want marketing that mirrors their internal reality, not some dusty old stereotype based on a number.
Okay, so given that mindset, that lifestyle, what did the material suggest works? How do you connect effectively with this ageless market?
The strategies outlined were pretty consistent. First, you've got to show them. Reflect their active, stylish lives in your visuals, your messaging.
So pictures of them hiking, cycling, maybe traveling somewhere exciting, looking fashionable.
Exactly. Mirror their energy, their enthusiasm. Don't show them winding down if they're actually gearing up.
Got it. And health and wellness came up again?
Big time. Promote relevant stuff directly. Fitness is absolutely for the ageless, according to these sources.
Organic food, fitness tech, maybe yoga retreats, that kind of thing.
For sure. Highly relevant. Third point was about real connection.
What does that mean in practice?
It means connecting emotionally, showing that your brand actually gets them, supports their aspirations, understands their choices.
So less about the hard sell, more about aligning with who they are or who they aspire to be.
You've got it. And finally, the material mentioned catering to their desire for, let's say, premium experiences.
Because they've earned it and they have the means.
Pretty much. They appreciate quality and experiences that match their level of success. Think luxury travel, high-end fitness options, sophisticated fashion. They have refined taste.
It paints a picture of a really dynamic, powerful consumer group.
Which leads to the final point. Why understanding this group, based on everything we've seen, is just so critical right now.
More than ever before, perhaps.
I think so. And the numbers are stark. The sources mention that statistic. By 2030, almost 1 in 3 people on the planet will be over 50.
Wow. 1 in 3.
That's a massive demographic wave. You simply can't afford to ignore them or misunderstand them.
Their combined spending power, their engagement, their openness to new things.
It makes them incredibly important for any brand that's willing to see them clearly for who they actually are today.
There was that phrase in the material, not just older, but
better, brighter, ready to make an impact.
Yeah. The age of agelessness. It really feels like it's here.
So just to wrap up this deep dive then, the key takeaway is that the 50-plus group today, they're active, they're engaged, and they wield serious economic power.
They're changing the definition of aging, and they expect everyone, especially marketers, to keep up and reflect their reality. No more tired stereotypes.
Absolutely. And for you listening, it doesn't matter if you're in this group or trying to reach them, understanding this shift is, well, it's essential. It reframes how you think about age, potential, connection.
And drawing just from the material we explored today, it really leaves us with a question to ponder, doesn't it? How do our own ideas about age and how others see us based on age, how do those perceptions actually shape the opportunities we see, the chances we take, and just the way we connect with the world?
Well, okay, thank you guys. So that's a wrap for this week's PaM++ Brand Talk podcast. Stay tuned for our next episode, next topic. Until then, have a great day, have a great weekend, stay cool, and cheers, everybody.